We've all been there before. A new task, a new project, a brand new role, and the fear kicks in. Your stomach sinks, the anxiety starts, and you think to yourself, can I really do this? Today, I want to talk to you about how to succeed when you have never done it before. Every great leader and every successful person has gone through this. The experience of being in a new situation or circumstance and not having all the answers. Not having that past reference of experience that you can lean on. We've all been there. Trust me, in over 20 years of being in leadership roles, I have experienced just about everything. And just when I think I've experienced it all, something new comes up. Because progress is always happening. In a previous video, I talked about closing that gap between where you are today, which is all of your experiences, versus where you want to be, right? Your future state. And everything in between is that progress that you're trying to make. And we've all been there. So today, I'm challenging you to look at things differently. So when you've never done it before and you want to achieve results, you have to shift the questions in your mind. You have to reframe what is going on within your mindset. You have to move from I don't know to asking the question, how can I figure it out? And this is where you need to become more resourceful. So a lot of times, and I've dealt with this several times myself, I've had it with people who have reported into me in the past. They will come to you with the problem and not the solution. And the reason they come to you with the problem and not solution is for a variety of reasons, one of which is they just don't know what the solution is. And that's a reality that many people face. But here's the question I always pose to them. So if I am the leader of the department, there is no one above me who knows more than what I know. So whether you are the head of human resources, the head of finance, the head of operations, whatever that position is, whatever the department is, if you are that final stop and there is no one above you and no one in the company who knows more than you, if you don't know the answer when the question is posed, who will? And that's the way you have to look at it within the role that you're in. If you don't know the answer, who will? And fortunately, if you are not the head, you always have that safety net where you can have someone above you that you can go ask questions to. So that's the fortunate part of being in certain positions that are not that senior level role. But think about it. In a senior level role where you are that final stop, who are you going to go to? And that's where it is critical to ask, how can I come to a resolution on this? How can I solve the problem even though I don't have the resources? And that's where the mindset of resourcefulness comes in. So it's about looking for solutions even if you've never done it before, even if you don't have the experience. It's about looking for solutions. And today, more than ever, there are many resources available. So there's no excuse that you don't have the solutions. With AI alone, with all the different AI technologies, it's as simple as typing in a question or a prompt and the answers will be in front of you within seconds. Take advantage of the resources available to you and become resourceful. Break it down to simplify it. So a lot of times when people are looking at a situation, they're looking at how large that situation is. So think about this like in your personal life, for example. If you're trying to lose 50 pounds, you look at how much weight you have to lose and you think, how can I possibly lose all of this weight? But you don't need to lose all of that weight. You need to lose the first pound. And the same is when you take on a new project, for example. I remember taking on these big, massive projects that potentially would take months to accomplish. But it's easy to look at all of those months and become overwhelmed by how big this project is. So instead of looking at how big something is, break it down into small pieces. When you look at a puzzle that consists of, let's say, 1,000 pieces, That finished product might look amazing, but it all started with that first piece. And in anything you do, break it down into pieces. So if you have a large goal or a large project, break it down into smaller goals and smaller tasks and set individual milestones along the way. Don't just look at one massive goal or one massive milestone at the end of the project. Break it down into different pieces. The same as how you would look at a puzzle. One piece at a time and continue. The next thing you want to do is leverage every resource around you, whether it's people, processes, or technology. So if you don't have the answer, if you haven't gone through the experience before, who are different mentors you work with? Who are people within your department who you can work with? Who are people you know within your network that you can leverage to try and find answers? Because even if you haven't done it before, maybe you can find someone who has experience who has, and talk to them and pick their brain. Get them to coach you on the situation. The next thing you want to do is also look at processes. There may already be processes in place. Whatever you are trying to do, there has likely been a template of someone who has done it before. Maybe not within your department or even your company, but look at other companies. Again, you have resources available to you, and the other thing you have access to today, more than ever, is technology. Use technology. Go online. Use AI. Use every resource that is available to you to get the answers you need. Again, it's about becoming resourceful. Sometimes you just need to learn by doing, not just studying. I remember a time where I was new to a role and I got the call one night from my manager saying, hey, tomorrow morning I need you to go out and conduct a harassment investigation. Now here's the thing. I had never done a harassment investigation. I had never done an investigation before. I did not have the experience, and nor did I have the time, because it was the night before, to research what was involved in conducting a proper investigation. So in that scenario, the next morning, I prepared myself as best as I could, and I just went out and I did it. I met with the people I needed to meet with. I asked the best questions that I could ask, and I did the best that I could. Was it perfect? Was it great? Probably not. But I did the best I could, and guess what? I learned from that experience. Sometimes you have to just step into the fire and learn through trial and error. What worked? What did not work? And you will learn by repetitive tasks, by doing these things over and over, and just sometimes you need to do it. Take the action. You won't always have all of the research done, you won't always have the experience, but sometimes you just need to step into the fire to get the result. Get it done. Build a feedback loop. So every time you do something, remember, none of us are perfect. We are always progressing. So every time you do something, whether it's conducting an investigation, whether it's taking on a new project or a new task or new responsibility, you want to create a feedback loop. So go back, ask people what worked, what didn't work. Listen to the feedback. Again, don't challenge, don't question the feedback, but listen to the feedback. Take notes, and then use that information to improve upon what you've already done. Now you're building experience. And through every situation, even if you don't have the time to research and learn, even if sometimes you just walk into that fire and do through trial and error, get that feedback. Because between doing through trial and error and getting the feedback from people who are involved, by your manager, by your peers, whoever it may be, gain the feedback and learn to become better the next time. And that's how experience starts to evolve. The other thing you want to also do is look at resources. So think about the things that may be potential gaps. So for example, I was involved in different labor relations meetings. So going into a grievance where I didn't really understand the collective agreement. I didn't really understand anything about labor relations. And you sit in front of a very experienced union representative and you try and argue your positions, and you walk out of that situation thinking, okay, there's things I could do better. So what do you do better? Aside from just getting feedback from other individuals, you take the time now to research, understanding reading through that collective agreement so that you can understand the different clauses within the agreement, but also taking the time to research more on labor relations in that scenario so that you can become more understanding of the fundamentals and the theories that lead to a very strong position. Remember, you got to take the time through every situation to go back, go through that loop where you're gaining feedback, but you're also taking the time to close the gap. You want to reframe the story that you're telling yourself. So a lot of times when we walk into a new situation, it is easy to lose confidence because of what you say to yourself. That story that you tell yourself every day will either lead you to success or it will lead you to failure. So instead of looking at a situation and thinking to yourself, I don't have the experience, I've never done it before, why would I be put into this situation? Instead of having those defeating thoughts going through your mind, you need to realize that someone believed in you enough to put you in that situation. All right? That's the way you need to think. You need to think, why not me? In the previous video, I talked about why not me? Why would they not put you in that situation? Why would you not have the solutions to that situation? You are there for a reason. Own it. So how do you succeed when you've never done it before? Follow the steps that I've just gone through. It starts with a mindset of understanding you are there for a reason. Someone believed in you enough to put you in that situation. Regardless of whether you have the experience, regardless of whether you have ever done it before, you are there for a reason. And you need to shift the question in your mind by asking yourself the question, why not me? Why not me? And leverage your resources, whether it's people, processes, or technology. Utilize every resource and become resourceful. And use your feedback loops. Go back, so when you take on a situation, go back to people who can coach you and point out blind spots and talk about gaps and opportunities and talk about the things you actually did really well. But also take the time to educate yourself. Whatever those gaps may be that you have identified, take the time to go back and close the gap by learning what you are missing. Remember, resourcefulness will always be greater than any resource you will ever have.